What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV, giving you guys the best content you're going to find on the internet. If you give me 10 minutes, I promise you're going to stay for the entire hour because we have Osiris Munir, and her story is absolutely amazing. From serving in the Vietnam War, from being an international model to an artist and a show host herself. We have a lot of stuff that we have to talk about, giving you guys the golden bars so that you can take all of this information and take it going into your everyday life, and you can apply it as soon as the episode is over. So Osiris, I'm super excited for you to be here. What do you have to say to the Positivity Posse before we get started for today?
What I have to say is that everyone out there who is viewing this broadcast, who can feel my presence, and I know you can because I'm strong, I wish you love, peace, and happiness, and hope you're having the best day of your life and that you continue to have even better days as the week continues.
Awesome. Thank you for your kind words. If you guys didn't feel that, then you need to open up your ears and your heart because it's time to experience Osiris's stories with giving you guys the golden bars that you need to help with your everyday life. And now it's time to get started for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Let's get it, everybody.
Basically, it's about keeping our families together.
God bless this organization.
Welcome back, everybody. Like I said earlier, to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Man, I'm super excited about this episode, and you know, it happens the way that it all needs to happen. I've been trying to connect with Osiris for a minute now, and she's been very, very busy, but I'm just grateful. And before we even get started, Osiris, thank you so much for coming on today to share your wisdom with everybody, because we know now more than ever we need it, because some people may be lost, or some people just want to learn more about their gifts that they already have, that they were born with. And we're going to be talking about how to discover those gifts and how to really find them within ourselves. But man, this is the last episode of season 3, everybody. I can't believe it. I mean, I can believe it. Let me focus on what I say. I can believe it. And it's been such an amazing journey. Thank you to my Positivity Posse for always coming in, commenting, liking, sharing, and just being a part of something greater than ourselves. You know, we're coming in, we're shifting the vibration of the earth by just, you know, coming with positive energy and questions and comments. And you guys are always just lighting it up, man. So thank you so much for supporting me for 3 seasons now. Season 4 is going to be absolutely amazing. We have a new set design. We're going to have some new segments for you. We're going to have a new book in the beginning because I think the affirmations for happiness served its purpose for this season, and I'm just so grateful for that. I need to find another book, so if you have any recommendations out there, please let me know of what I need to talk about when it comes to finding a new book just to help, just shift everybody up to a more positive sense and to raise our vibrations. So like I said, thank you guys so much. And I'm really excited about today with Osiris. Her stories about resiliency and, going within to find our answers and just having immense, drive, and everything that we talk about here is just a perfect fit. So I'm very excited about it. So without further ado, let's get into the affirmation for the happiness. Affirmations for the happiness. Thank you, Jeanette. Great content. You already know we're going to be lightening up for you guys just as much as you do for us. Let's go. Let's go is right. Shared to all the places. Thank you so much for that. So let's get started. The affirmations, as you already know, since it's the last one, you guys are already familiar with it. I'll open up to a random page into the book, and it's always on point with what we're talking about today for our topics. And I put the quotations around random because it's never really random, right? Nothing's ever by chance or by coincidence. Everything is happening the way that it needs to happen for our greatest good. And that can be an affirmation right there. If you wake up, you've been feeling like things have been defeating you, or it's not working in your purpose or your service or working for you, you can change that to say everything is happening the way that it needs to happen and for my greatest good. And when you understand that, you can just go through everything. So I guess that's my affirmation for happiness. But let's go with the book. Let's go with the books one for today. And you know what? We're going to go with number 70 right here. So it says, I'm trading my worry for faith. Worrying too much holds me back from my natural state of relaxation and contentment. I would rather try to trust and have faith, so that's what I'll do. Life is too short to stress over the little things. I'm ready to set myself free. And I really love this one a lot because when you're trading your worry for your faith, you're shifting your vibrations and your dominant, what your state of mind is. So if you're worried about, hey, how am I going to pay for these bills? Or what if my partner doesn't love me? Or how am I going to get to the gym if I don't have a car? Your dominant vibration is worry. And I've shown you guys this picture so many times on Weekly Dose. But if this is your first time watching, you got to understand this emotional vibration chart right here, right? So if you're always down here and in the lower vibrations, those things are going to transpire and manifest into your life in a negative sense. So things are not going to work out to your faith. They're not going to work out to the way that you think that it's going to happen. But when you're at peace and joy and love with yourself, things will happen to you that you'll never anticipate in a million years, where you'll find that significant person that you've been looking for, that job that you've been hoping for that will come into your life, will come in the greatest ways that you couldn't have even imagined. So when you're trading your worry for your faith, it makes a world of a difference. And if you don't believe me, just try it for 5 minutes today, or try it for tomorrow. If that's, you're just out of capacity today, you just want to go to sleep after the show, do what you got to do to just make sure that you're changing your mindset to, number one, see the positive side in everything, and number two, so that you're raising your vibration, because that's what it's all about. And that's how we're going to get everything that we want to achieve in this world. If it's about, financial freedom, if that's what you want, you're going to get it through high vibrations and a positive mindset. Anything that you can achieve, it's by finding it that way. Thank you so much, Shane, for dropping that. Yo, nice to see you. He has a Three Beards of Wrestling podcast, so make sure you go check him out. Great content as well. Don't worry, be happy. That's very simple and straight to the point. I love that. So, like I said, we have Osiris's story that we need to talk about. So many golden bars that she's about to drop for you guys today. So let's just get right into it, because I'm very excited to just bring her on and share her insights and her wisdom, because you guys are going to love her just as much as I do. So everybody, drop some fire emojis, some warm messages, whatever you got to do to welcome to Osiris on the show. Osiris, stop painting, girl. It's time to come on to the show. How you doing today, Osiris?
Hey everyone, I'm fine. Hey Dano, finally how we get to hook up on the screen.
I know.
Oh wow, what a great inspirational message you have. And I like all the kick-ass excitement that comes along with the show when you start it off. It's really exciting. So thanks for having me. And hey out there, everyone, I hope you are feeling good vibes. I'm going to send you some right now. I have a really big present. So I know you felt that just like the wind.
There it is. I felt that as well. And man, let me tell you, Osiris, when I was reading your bio, there were so many things out here that jumped out that it's so hard to fit into 1 hour of our program that we're doing for today. But like I said, thank you so much for being here, and you're about to help us out with everything that we need. So let's get right into it. When we talk about, positive affirmations or writings or meditations, all of these things are to improve our mental health. And that's what we talk about here on Weekly Dose of Dano. But you bring a new light and a new perspective on everything when it comes to art. Can you talk about, the correlation or how it's helped you when finding art has been another vessel or another means for you to work on your mental well-being?
Well, first of all, I hated art. I had been taught when I was younger. My parents really were into that. You need to go to school and get educated. And although my brother and I were somewhat, kind of artsy, we weren't encouraged to do art. And we were, a family that couldn't afford to go to the art school, that little magazine where you draw a little squirrel on the back. And they go, oh, wow, you can draw, you can get into school. We couldn't afford that. So we forgot all about it. And so I didn't really think about that. And then one day I was standing in the middle of my living room, take it or leave it. I could care less who thinks it's crazy. And I heard some voice and it said, you're supposed to be an artist. You have something to say. You have to paint. And I said, who the F are you? So I turned around like, who's talking to me? Like, what's going on? And then I took myself through this process of discovery, like, okay, I'm a veteran, as you know, and I was diagnosed with a variety of various things, various mental disabilities. And when they diagnosed me, rather than me go, oh my God, I'm going to be messed up in my life, I'm like, okay, you know what? I know how to use metaphysics. I know how to keep my mind, I'm going to take whatever I've been given. I'm going to turn poison into medicine,
Okay.
So at any rate, I was standing in the room, and the first thing that happened was the next day when I got up, I said, oh, I don't hear anything. So it must be some joke. I thought it was just some aspect of some mental thing I had going on. And this voice says, well, why don't you call Aaron Brothers? I'm like, Aaron Brothers doesn't even sell paints. What are you talking about? I must be having a mental thing. But anyway, I was so intrigued by the fact that I heard something. I called Aaron Brothers. So I get on the phone, ring, ring, hi. The voice is in my head. I'm like, okay, you know what? Shut the hell up. Let's talk to Aaron Brothers right now. Hey, Aaron Brothers, do you have paint? The guy goes, no, ma'am, we do not. I'm like, see, told you it was some crazy thing. He said, we only have a child set of acrylic paint or something. It's only 6 pieces. It's $8. Nothing for an artist. I'm like, see, and the voice says, ask him again and ask him to go to the back and check. Okay. I go to okay, hello. Would you mind going to the back and check? See if you have any paints. The guy goes back. He comes to the phone. He goes, ma'am, we have only one box of basic, it's called something text, basic text, acrylic paints, 48 pieces for $19.95. Take it or leave it. That's the only one we have. So that was my first set of paints.
Wow.
Okay, Mr. Smartass, since you think you know everything, where am I going to get the brushes from? I don't know how to paint or anything. I'm walking down the street in Hollywood. A guy's down on his knees painting a mural on the outside of a hotel, as they frequently do in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
A mural of celebrities. I go, oh, wow. Some kind of voice told me to go and paint. And I don't even have any brushes. And I started laughing. Ha, 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 ha. And the guy goes, oh, you're a real artist because you were called. I said, I don't even know what that means, but I have never painted.
Did you just notice that? Did you see the light? As soon as you just said you were called, it just did it again.
Yeah.
Right on time.
Wow. Yeah. And I said, I'm like, I don't know what that means, but I do know that I just had an accident. All of a sudden I started writing and doing all these things. And instead of, it was the other way around. It took me out of the corporate world and it put me back into the art, the inner world of art and all of your inner world.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy told me to go to CVS. They were selling a paint of brushes, 31 for $4.95.
Wow.
And that's how I got my first set of brushes. And then it got really bizarre. All these things happened to me to encourage me that I was definitely on the right track and that I was definitely some sort of artist at that time. I even threw a whole bunch of my art away and put it in the trash. And my neighbors took it out the trash, put it up on their walls and on their porch, said, "Girl, Osiris, girl, we didn't know you could paint." I said, "I didn't either."
They went through the trash to grab your painting?
They
Wow.
pulled them out of the trash because I didn't know what art was. I'm like, this looks weird. This couldn't be art. Isn't it supposed to be something you can recognize, an apple, a fruit, some buildings or something, you know, and it wasn't anything like that.
Wow.
But the biggest story of my art experience is when one of my friends, Cheryl Gelling, who is the person responsible for me being a painter, let me paint her a hat box. I didn't have any money. I said, "Oh, well, I've got a few brushes and a few oil, you know, a few acrylics. Let me paint a hat box and give it to her for her birthday gift." So when I painted the hat box and gave it to her, she said, "Oh my gosh, I know you can paint." I'm like, I don't know what you guys are saying. I can't paint. I've never painted before in my life. I heard this voice and all this stuff is going on. She said, "Okay, it's beautiful." And I put a little $5 one of those little pretty scarves in there. 2 nights later, the phone rings at 11:30 at night. "It's Cheryl. You gotta get over here. Sybil says she has to meet you." "Who is Sybil?" "Sybil is my neighbor. She's dying.
Oh,
She
wow.
has uterus cancer. And she
Oh, wow.
said she had to meet you because you're supposed to take everything she has and do something with it. She can't leave it to her family. They would only throw it away. They don't know the value of it. But you know what to do." I'm like, "Cheryl, I don't even know. Just get over here now." The neighbor, because they didn't have a car, so I have a voucher, took me over to Studio City, which I didn't know where it was. It's 11 now, 12 at night. We're walking up these stairs. I go in, there's this beautiful lady laying on the bed, very thin, fair skin, wispy hair. And I go over and I take her hand and I say, "Why are you trying to die? What are you doing upset with your sisters? Why are you over here? Why are you angry?" She said, "Who told you that? Who told you that?" I said, "Ma'am, I swear, I've never seen you before. Cheryl told me you said, come over here." She gets up out of the bed. She grabs my hand and all of her neighbors, she said, "All of you get over here. I want her to have my whole art studio. I mean, everything she can carry, everything she can fit in the car. If you need to follow her, I want her to have it." So we filled my neighbor's entire car up with an art teacher's studio. I didn't even know she was an art teacher. I didn't
Wow.
even know they had art teachers because I wasn't in the field of art. So I
No,
didn't know the language, you know.
yeah. You know what's so amazing about that is a lot of people think that when they go on their journeys to discover whatever it is, their purpose, their calling, however you want to phrase it, they think that everything's just going to go great and that they don't believe in their own talent and that everything is just going to be rainbows and sunshines and butterflies. But it's just like you said, the things that you didn't know consciously, you just went along with it. And now, if you guys can't see, I mean, if you already obviously you can see on the back wall right there is one of Osiris's paintings, and you can see how far it has taken her. And I want to talk about that for a quick second. With this journey that you had no idea where you were going to start or how it was all going to come together. Can you talk about the first time these paintings were, got featured in the museum?
Yeah, I can tell you that. What happened is I wrote the California Art Club looking for a place to belong right here in Pasadena. I told them my story. They said, "Welcome home." Swear, never met them on the phone. They said, "Welcome home." I'm like, okay, this is really getting strange. So I met this other guy. His name was Romulus. He's some famous painter there. I took one class and couldn't follow. because I have a mental thing that doesn't, my attention goes off, like I can hold it depending on what I'm doing. And so he was like, whoa, no, let me just show you one thing, because you already got it. I'm like, got what? What are you talking about? I've never painted. I don't know what you're saying. And I got so frustrated because I kept, in my mind, the art was like structured, a landscape painting or a bowl of fruit, or I didn't even know the language of art, so I didn't even know what type of art I had. Like whatever I got, I don't know what it is. I've never heard of it. Couldn't afford the class. By the way, art classes are terribly expensive. The course would have been $740 something. I'm like, wow. I took one class. I'm by. See you later. I'll be painting on my own. I'm on the YouTube channel. So I literally went onto the YouTube channel after joining the California Art Club. They had no place for abstract artists. It's all landscape in California. Mm-hmm. All landscape, no abstract. I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. Went from there. One of my friends in New York said, did you paint the thing? I saw something on your, it wasn't even on Facebook. It was somebody sent her. She said, was that your thing you said it was on a text message? I said, yeah, I really probably shouldn't be showing anybody because I really don't know what I'm doing. She said, girl, I'm sending that to my friend Carla Goldberg at the Bar Gallery in New York.
Oh, wow.
She sent it to Carla. She said, I know nothing about art, but I do know from just what I see, you have something. It's something. I don't know what it is. I've never painted. Told the whole story. She's like, girl, okay, it's supposed to be, it's mine, blah, blah, blah. I send Carla my thing. Carla said, I don't want you talking to anyone else. I want you to talk to only me right now. I'm going to tell you what to do, where to go. It is because of Carla Goldberg that I met curator and artist Bibiana Huang Mateus, who was the curator at the Hammond Museum in New York. And then eventually, after a year of signing me on, took myself and a group of other women from all over the world and formed the Art Inspiration Group, of which I'm now a proud member of. She stuck with me while I grew and challenged myself with art in the various stages. I'm exhibiting in November. I have to turn in, this is not my turn-in piece, but I have to turn in a piece as the opening piece for a solo show, my first one.
Okay.
November. And
congratulations.
So thank you.
That's huge. And
if you guys want to know, you can go on Art Inspiration Group, Bibiana, Bibiana, Huang, Huang, and then Matheis. And you will see all the information. And I'd love for all of you to be there for my very first show on a solo. Yeah. And that's really how I got started. And the rest is pretty much word of mouth.
And all of I don't know if you noticed it or maybe you did notice it, but every time you were talking about your story and somebody wanted to be interested and say, hey, you did a really good job, you would say, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not very confident in what I have to do. Now, what if there's somebody out there that is starting a new venture, or maybe they're pretty seasoned and they still don't have that confidence in themselves in whatever aspect it is that they're doing? What advice do you have to give for these people to just say, hey, you're good enough. The stuff that you're doing, if you keep going, you're on the right path. What advice do you have to give to these people to establish more confidence within themselves?
I would say that it is a process of continuation and determination. If you find that you are in alignment with something you've been called to do or something you simply have a desire to do, the doors kind of start opening up. You get support from the environment. It doesn't mean that it won't be challenging. I absolutely had no money, nothing. I was like, are you kidding? I had gotten fired from a job, had been in a car accident. The VA had told me I had all these mental problems. I was like, what the hell? And I felt like going pow, pow, And then that inner drive, whatever that feels and sounds like to the individual person, is what you should listen to. It is an inner drive, a feeling. It comes from within. You cannot find it in the outside world. It isn't there. You can look at Beyonce, Jay-Z, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Van Gogh, any of them you want to. It won't do you any good except for reference, unless you are really plugged into yourself inside. Because only the person, and we're all very complicated as human beings. Human beings are complicated. And humanity has to be developed within a person. You know, a lot of human beings on two legs do animalistic tendencies. That should tell us that we're not born human. We're born with the capability of being human. We're born in a human body. And saying that with the right training and the right education and the right experiences, whatever those be, the right experience for somebody to grow may be that they were born into a ghetto with nothing. But by being born into that situation, they may be able, maybe their challenge is to rise up out of that and show people, look where I came from. You can do it too.
100%.
You know, a lot of people are not born in good circumstances to be encouraged. They are born in horrible circumstances so that they can encourage. And they can pull themselves up and say, look, you can do it too. I had high school education. I was pretty smart in school. So I graduated at age 16. They wanted me to do this and then the other. I don't know, but I've always been, you know, a pretty good speaker and one of those little kids that the teachers liked. I liked studying and I was like learning. And then when I got into the military and everything that happened in the military, all my experiences, I got so twisted and turned around, and my whole world of what America was supposed to be and what happened in the military and why did they do this and what is all this? It caused me to revolutionize my life.
I love that.
I started reading and studying everything I could find until eventually I led myself into art and metaphysics.
And you know, it's so amazing that you just said the things that people think are going to trip them up are, number one, there's your strength, and number two, you need to, you know, dive into them and really figure out and study whatever that thing is that's holding you back, because you might need to share that with other people. You know, I've heard plenty of times, and we've actually had a couple guests come on the show of women that have been, you know, in the sex trafficking industry, and you know, they've escaped that, but when they look back on it, they say, hey, I need to study this, I need to find out why it happened. Then they don't find it as a hindrance, but they find that as empowering. And then they're able to help other people that might be going through that same thing. And it's exactly like you said, you need to just stop worrying about what can go wrong and why you're this way or why you're that way, because that's the outside world programming you, whether that's family, media, social media, whatever it is. That's just not you living in your purpose. But when you go inside, you're going to find all the answers that you need as well. And Osiris, we're halfway through the program already, through the episode. So we're just going to play a quick commercial from our sponsors. Okay. And then we'll be right back, because we're going to dive a little bit deeper on what it means to look inside and how we can do it, and some different tips and tricks and techniques that you might have for us. So don't go anywhere. Like, share, do whatever you got to do.
I'm drinking kombucha, by the way. This is not alcohol. This is kombucha.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for clearing that up. So awesome. So like I said, do whatever you got to do to raise your vibrations, and we'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. everybody. That was just a quick word from our sponsors. Thank you so much for sponsoring Weekly Dose of Dano so we can make this all possible and to pour into each other, like I said, to make sure that we're living our dream life and doing everything that we need to do to help each other out, because now we need that more than ever.
Yes.
So, Osiris, man, we need to talk about how to go within. And when I was reading everything, and I know you're a big advocate of going inward to find our gifts that we need to do to live our purpose or whatever it is that somebody's watching needs to do. So if you have to give maybe your top 3 tips or pieces of advice or strategies or techniques to discover the gifts we were born with, what pieces of advice would you be able to give us?
Well, first of all, I became a Buddhist at a very young age. I grew up around tons of Christians in the South. My uncles were ministers, the whole thing. They were all church-going people, but I really, truthfully, didn't see any shining example of human beings. I saw people that were very theoretical, loved the Lord, and had a lot of belief, but their behavior did not match what they believed in. Mm-hmm. And so it caused me to really question religion and philosophy in general. And I ended up just being directed into Eastern philosophies, which really push for the inner development of man, not so much religion, but to go within, So I would say one of the first tips for really going into and learning how to master the mind and not have the mind master you is to work with your breathing. Work with breathing. Make yourself listen to your breath. And a lot of us breathe so shallow that we don't even know we're breathing, and we breathe so much we never go like that. And because I was diagnosed with so many things from being in the military after coming out and spending years with some mental things that worked against me, I had to do a lot of breath work. And when you chant and use mantras in general, but particularly for me chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, I ended up you have to breathe, and you naturally have to, and you end up training the breath about how to actually breathe properly, which then centers the mind. And then once the mind is centered, then the person can actually unravel what it is they're trying to accomplish. Now, a lot of people, I will tell you from living a while, that you will never reach your goal. As soon as you reach one goal, there's something else to go for. So what you want to strive for is not to be perfect, but to strive to understand the process of what you're doing and enjoy the journey of the process of reaching a goal. You're never, as long as you live, you're never going to get to a plateau. You say, okay, I'm here now. It's never going to happen. Yeah, you're going to go there and then go, oh, now I got something else. Now it's something else. And now, so it's always going to be ongoing. But that's the beauty of it, is because you're always challenging your mind to keep growing and get those neuros and those, nerve waves and in the brain to keep going and growing. And it's been in science now, in neuroscience, to what I practice. Neuroscience is totally based on frequency and a sound. So I'm a veteran, and the VA, I've introduced them to some of my concepts. I'm a very different veteran. They're always using me in some case study because of what I believe in. And a lot of the veterans that have been diagnosed with some of the things I have, like bipolar and stuff like that, they have not been able to get themselves in a place to even be as tranquil. And it's because I chant and I practice something that allows me to increase my vibration rather than just saying some words.
Yeah. And I'm telling you guys, when you're sleeping, put on some positive affirmational videos, because it's like you said, what you're doing is you're reprogramming your subconscious mind, if you want to put it, on the medical sense. But number two, if you're just feeding yourself and your soul with positive affirmations and, success and self-confidence or whatever you want to listen to, that's just what's going to play out into the 3D physical world. And, breath work is so important. I've really just started to try to cultivate and work on my breathing muscles as well. Like I was telling you, Osiris, in the back room, is I love meditation, and I'm always gonna, if I had to give you guys one tip, just make sure that you're practicing your meditation. Even if you're not good in the beginning, just freaking do it, because you're gonna see a world of a difference. But you know, you were saying that you were a Buddhist, and you know, one of the things that I can give you guys for breathing is the Buddha belly. When you're breathing, make sure you're extracting and you're you know, pushing out all the bottom muscles in your stomach, and you're breathing through your nose and not through your mouth. And then just finding that sense of calm, because like you said, Osiris, breathing is such a huge part of everything, but we're not really taught how to do that.
Yeah, and when you do a lot of practicing like a Buddhist practice, but I wanted to be very clear with the people out there, your fans in the audience. The word Buddha is a person that's seeking enlightenment. So the guy you see with the big fat belly, we practice Orthodox Buddhism. That means the Buddhism that was practiced by Siddhartha Buddha himself many thousands of years ago in India. So we do not worship a statue. We don't worship anything sitting on the ground. That is sacrilegious to the Orthodox sect of Buddhism, which is Nichiren Shoshu. But what we do acknowledge is that every human being, animal, plant on carries an electromagnetic field or vibrational field. And that when that field or that vibration is in harmony with the laws of life, meaning the laws of life, the sun, the moon, everything that governs life, not man, because man's laws are subject to change. But these are eternal laws that as long as I've been alive and then more people have gone and come and go before me, they are still there. I would say they are the laws of life, and they govern the essence of life itself. So when we're practicing, I'm not praying to a God like, oh, help me, nothing like that. I'm saying, look, what do I need to do to increase my frequency so that I can attract what I need versus asking for things? I need this, I need that, I need this. Instead of saying, thank you, I've got enough. I already have enough. How do I make use of what I already have? How do I make the best use of what I already have? And it's like a story. It's like if somebody sees you can handle $50, then maybe next time you get 100. And if you can manage 100, then maybe next time. But everyone thinks that they're supposed to have all these things. And when we don't even have the capability of managing what we already have,
100%.
You want to have a perfect relationship. You don't even get along with your own brothers and sisters or your relatives, but yet and still, we expect to go out in the world and have a perfect relationship. We have nothing to draw from. We have no example. And then the other thing that I feel from practicing over 38 years now, in terms of development, everyone seems to look outside in the environment as if the environment is to blame, and it's not. The environment is reflective of the aspect of the person's mind that lives in the environment. It is a reflection of an aspect of your own mind. I know, I've lived it. It took me years to come out of the programming that my mother told me that I was born black, poor, and ugly, and I was gonna die black, poor, and ugly. That's what my mother programmed me for.
Was she programmed that way? Is that why she continued?
It's not that she was programmed. They were like second generation coming out of slavery. So all of them had all the negatives. You're black, you're ugly, you got big lips, you got big butt. Nobody wants you. You know, they were coming out though. So they translated it to all of the children. You know, it just kept transferring from generation to generation until I came along and broke the cycle. That's broke amazing. The cycle.
Yeah, that's amazing.
No such programming. They're having wonderful lives. Not only are they black, they not only can experience their own culture, they have the sensitivity and inner intelligence to be able to talk to anybody in the world. You know why? Because they're human.
Of course.
And you with your color, you're human. You should be relate to anyone, and no matter what language they speak, the fact that you're human should bond you together.
We're all one. It doesn't matter. Color is an illusion. What your religious beliefs or what your political beliefs, all of that is just an illusion. We all have two legs, two arms, and we've all come to this earth for a greater purpose. Now, whether some people understand that faster than others, it doesn't matter the speed. Just know that we're all one, and we're inseparable. And I want to talk about one thing just to back it up a little bit, where you were talking about is the psychology behind wanting more things when you can't even handle what you have, right? How are you supposed to prove to yourself if you can't handle $1? How are you supposed to get $100? And when it comes to money specifically, I just got done reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And he says, if you guys haven't read it, that a lot of people think if they get an influx of money, that's going to solve all their problems. Number one, that's the worst thing that you can possibly think, because it's not true. Because think about it. If you were to receive $100,000, or let's just take something even smaller, like a Christmas bonus that you get from your job, right? What's the first thing that a lot of people want to do when they receive that money? They just want to spend it on a vacation, or they want to buy a new car because they got the little bonus. So he says that when you receive more money, your desires and your fears start to grow up. So if you don't know how to properly manage it, speaking of money specifically, you're not going to know what to do when you get more of it. And the same things goes for love and relationships and, everything else under the sun.
Well, if I can encourage you out there to look at money as an energy, not a bill, an energy. So let's just think that whoever prints the money, they're putting their energy into the printing. Let's just say that when the money gets to you, it's had all of these different energies to collectively to come to you. And then you get money, and rather than say, wow, Dano didn't have any money, I have $50, but let me give Dano like 5 of the 50 because I knew he didn't have any money. That way I prospered me and I prospered Dano. But people don't think like that.
Nope.
The first thing everyone does is becomes very selfish and hoards the money.
Yep.
And then money goes, oh, you're holding on to me, but I came to you freely. But this is what you're doing to me. And so now I can't fly free from you. And then you can't get any more because you just held the money in a space. So when it comes particularly to money, because money can lead the mind into false identifications, especially the ego of who the person is. And I will tell you that I learned the biggest lesson from coming out of the military, coming out of school and going into Hollywood and the entertainment industry and meeting people that I did not know and had only seen on TV and read in the media, and meeting them, and they had billions of money and had no humanity whatsoever. None. You wouldn't even like them if you knew them, and I don't even have to call their names.
And
you wouldn't even like them. They're not good people, and they got billions of dollars. And it's demonic almost, because the money has just become another way for them to satisfy their selfish egos and desire and lord it over other people, which mankind seems to do. I'm better than you because I got this. And it is nothing. Number one, like my mother used to say, you got to live a whole life before you know how you're going to go out of here. A lot of people are born with money or whatever. By the time they die, they don't have nothing. And then there are some people that are born with nothing. And by the time they actually live a full life, they've accumulated things based on their spirit and their heart. And if I were encouraging anybody, I would say, if you're going to develop anything, rather than develop your pocketbook, develop your treasures of the heart. Because if people like you, people liking you. And I don't mean people liking you for what you can give them. I mean, they like you because you're kind, you're open, you're honest, you have integrity. You will go much further than any money could ever give you. And that's the truth. Take it or leave it.
And I want to speak on another side of that when it comes to personal wealth and, your self-identity. Stop identifying with yourself and your self-value and your self-worth with how much money you have in the bank, what your house looks like, what your car looks like. None of that stuff determines who you are as a person, right? Because it goes deeper beyond what these outer things and what these outer beliefs has conditioned us to believe. Start judging yourself on how great you can love somebody or how much you've been giving back to the world, and maybe the people that don't need it or that do need it. it doesn't matter. You need to start changing the way that we identify our self-worth as, because like we said, number one, when you start to focus on the love of everything, you can attract even more love. So, and you can just give that out and be a beacon of light for the people that need it the most. And you'll start to experience things that you would have never thought in a million years. But it all starts within the inside first. And Osiris has been giving you guys, and me too, we've been giving you guys the golden nuggets in order to live our dream lives. And it is possible. So Osiris, let's talk about that for a quick second. How did you know all of this stuff was real? At what point did you say, okay, I have the power within, and it's all what goes on inside that determines what happens in our outer world? Was there a point that you were just like, okay, I had that aha moment?
No. What I will say is that I had some spark or desire at a very young age that there was something more going on in the world than what my family told me. And I was one of those kids that had dreams and one of those vision, one of them kind of kids that nobody understood. So I spent a great deal of time to myself when I was a young kid. And then when I went into the military, I had an offset, and I say offset because I didn't stay there long. I went through all kind of drugs. I had a bunch of fun doing all kind of drugs.
Yeah.
I did not do heavy things. Like I did a lot of acid and mind explorative kind of drugs, mushroom. Before all this stuff, before the doctor said, oh yeah, that might be some, I was doing all of that because I wanted a way to open my mind up and challenge the other 45% of the brain that they say we don't use. Like, but what are we doing with it? Let's tap into it. Something must be going on. So I did all of that. And I remember in school, in college at Sonoma State here in Northern California, I would smoke marijuana and then read Journey to Ixtlan by Carlos Castaneda. That was some deep shit. I'm like, boy, Carlos Castaneda was bad. So at an early age, even in school, all of my friends were interested in partying and everything. It was so empty for me. I didn't get anything out of it. Even when I started trying to drink and smoke, I must have drank like 10 different drinks and threw up and looked at myself. I never picked up another drink. And to this day, I do not drink liquor. Wow. Don't do it. The little drugs I did, my whatever years, 3, 4, 5, whatever it was, I ended up just dealing with marijuana. The rest, it just didn't make sense. I'm like, why are you guys doing stuff and you're sick in the, I mean, it just, it's not making common sense. I mean, it just didn't make common sense about the behavior and what people said they believed in and actually what their daily life behavior was. Mm-hmm. So I kept going. Eventually, I led myself into a group of Rosicrucians. From there, they took me like, oh, and they give you a test to see how intuitive you are. And they do a guided meditation, and then they let you tell them what you see. And I was the only woman of color. Nobody else was interested. You know, it was a bunch of white Rosicrucians. I'm like, yeah, I like it. It's his turn. I'm lit. What is this? You know, it felt like food or something you could eat. And I just start starving. Like literally reading all these books, Napoleon Hill, Madame H. Blavatsky, Alice Bailey, Manly P. Hall, all of the great Theosophians, they all just came to me. All of a sudden I was around all these heavyweight metaphysicians, took me under their wing. Come here. Woo, where have you been? We got some for you. Eventually that led me into Buddhism, because the thing about metaphysics and theory in general is that if you don't have a way to put it in practice, you're just swimming in ideas and thoughts. There's no way for you to put it in practice. You have to have a discipline and a way of putting things in practice. And Buddhism allows a daily practice of morning and evening prayers where you physically have to go sit your butt down and do some physical prayers and put the chanting into motion. So just calling out and saying, I'm going to do this and that, and making affirmations without action, you will never get anywhere. You have and must take action, even if from where you stand. If you need a job, you have to go out and apply for a job. You have to call people, tell your friends. You have to do stuff. And then oh yeah, I have faith that I believe that I am capable and deserving of having a wonderful job. That's how you do that stuff.
Boom, mic drop. And it's inspired action is definitely as equal as that too. So if you get the inspiration or inclination to go do something, and it can be as seamless as a thought, and that's really what it is. A lot of people discredit it and just say, oh, that was just a coincidence that I thought that thing, that I'm supposed to call that person, or I'm supposed to go visit that workshop, or whatever it is. Just make sure that whenever a thought comes to your head, that just means that you're queued up in that very moment to go take that action. Right. And when it comes to inspired action, it could happen at the drop of a hat. So just make sure that you're always being conscious and having that self-awareness to just take the actions that we need to do to accomplish anything that we've been asking for. So if you want to get, financial wealth, and a thought comes to your head, whether it's to call somebody or visit something, just go do it.
Go for it. And sometimes I will be up at 3 a.m. like I'll be like this.
Yeah.
And something will say, get up and go. I'm like, I mean, just like it's something, and then it'll just shut off. So I know it's an influence of the entity of life, that spiritual intelligence that life itself possesses.
I love that.
That we get in tune to. And then I will also say that, your family and friends are not always your best cohorts when it comes to your dreams, because a lot of people don't see your vision. And you have to become astute enough as an individual person you can tell who you can share something, even if you have to write it in a diary or a book, so you can get it out of your head onto some paper. And one of the best ways to make something happen is to physically write it on paper. Yep. In your head, it is just floating around with all the rest of your ideas and stuff. But when you physically write it, the act of physically writing it down makes it concrete.
Yeah.
Then you can go back and put on your prayer list. Wow, that happened, that happened, that happened. And then don't forget that, life just doesn't hand out money and stuff to us just because we want it. What are you doing to earn it? 100%. Are you being appreciative? Are you being kind to people? Or did you earn your money because you went and stole it from somebody and now think that you're supposed to be walking around getting all these benefits from life? And so you get about 50 or 60 years old, and when your life looks all screwed up, I want to hear you say what you did when you were 30.
Yeah. And
see, I love people don't understand cause and effect. What you do, how you think, you act, and your behavior follows you for the rest of your life. And a lot of people think, oh yeah, I did something and nobody knew it but me. And my mother said, there's a recording angel on your shoulder that's recording everything you're doing, and you're going to pay for it. You know better. Y'all not supposed to be out there doing all of that. Come on. And then you wonder why things happen. Oh my God. Didn't happen to me, because you're doing some bullshit you're not supposed to be doing, and you know better.
Straight up. And I want to talk about how when you just said like earning it, everything that you just listed with earning it wasn't really about taking actions or opening up a business or like doing all of the physical work. It was like you just said, the intangibles. How are you treating people? What are you saying to yourself? Are you practicing your breath work and things like that? But a lot of people think that action is, oh, they need to go to the store, they need to work a job to make money, and then with that money, they got to save up and like that. But it goes beyond the physical actions and going inside. And Osiris, we only have literally about.
You also really get, once you open and that spark of desire happens, where life says, oh, I think Dano, or I think somebody else that wants to do something, you get support. It's like an invisible force will support you because you're doing the right thing.
Straight up. So Osiris, we only have like literally a minute or two left, but we always wrap up the show with the same question. And this is the finale of season 3. So I know this is going to be a good answer. Like I said, we only have a few minutes left, but if there's somebody that's watching this right now, that's in their deepest, darkest moments, and they're not sure how to get out, what advice do you have to give for these people?
I would say to embrace your deepest, darkest moments. Because those deepest, darkest moments are what will lead you to the light. I remember when I was on the streets here real quick, And I had my kids and I didn't know where we were going to stay and all of that. And I ended up in Skid Row, downtown LA. And I had the most profound conversation with an alcoholic who was the clearest, most integritous, honest person I ever met. Just had a clear understanding of life just from being an alcoholic and sinking so low that you had nowhere else to go but up, you know. And so that's what you have to do. Stop running from the dark. The dark is a part of it too. Everybody thinks, oh, everything is supposed to be all good. No, it's not. Things can't get good unless they've been bad. You won't know how love feels unless you felt hate. You will not know how it feels to get up in the morning and be happy unless you felt sad. So all of those things are dualities in life that come and they help us balance life and bring life into balance. That's
100%. Yeah, thank you so much. And I always say that it's all about the contrast in our lives. And you can even, if you need some more information on that, just look up the picture of the yin and yang. There's the half that's white, the half that's black, but there's a dot of each color on the other one. But it's all about that contrast.
We both need each other. Yeah.
Yep. Osiris, if there's anybody that wants to get in contact with you, where can they go to find all of your websites or any artwork that you have? Where can they get in contact with you?
Okay, you can find me on the Art Inspiration Group. There is a whole thing on me on there, Art Inspiration Group, or look up Bibiana Huang Mateus, the curator. You can also find me on IG under Osiris_Munir_ the painter on IG, as well as my name, Osiris Munir. My website is called Express, the word IN abstract.net. And my blog, where you can find my YouTube channel, Facebook, and everything else. Just push the buttons up there. It is called Ankh, like the Egyptian Ankh Entertainment, and the word one.net. And that's where I'll be hanging out in the others there.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Osiris. Don't go anywhere because I still want to talk to you a little bit after the episode. Okay. But to my positivity posse, thank you guys so much for being here. Lou says amazing episode. Season 4 next week, man. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be lit. It's going to be amazing. So thank you for being a part of the positivity posse. Great episode. Great information, Osiris. Thank you so much. Balance is very important. To embrace the deepest, darkest moments, it will bring you to the light. Thank you guys so much, man. Season 3 was an absolute success. I can't wait to bring you guys next week, season 4. Osiris, thank you so much for helping inspire and raising the consciousness and the collectiveness of Earth and raising our vibrations. Everybody, stay safe this week. Make sure that you are focusing on our inner world, because we all know everything that goes on in our inner world will be a reflection of our outer world as well. So everybody, stay safe, and I'll see you next week for season 4 of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Peace, everybody. Thank you again, Osiris.
Bye.